is up, people? The legacy continues. Thank you for joining us. My name is David Harris, and this is Real to Real, the show that brings you real talk, real debate, in search of real solutions. Now, on today's show, to get us started, I just wanted to refresh the audience a little bit on kind of the goal and the purpose of this show, which is to get us to think. Not indoctrinate, not tell you what to think or what not to think, but to get you to think. Critical thinking skills, reading. We're big on reading, and as I've told you before, we're big on definitions. So before I introduce our guest, I just want to give you a little definition, a little reading to kind of back up what we're saying about we want you to think. And that is from the dictionary.com definition of the thinking process. And I'm going to offer you this, and then we're going to get to our guest. And I just want you to marinate on this a little bit. Thinking validates existing knowledge and enables individuals to create new knowledge and to build ideas and make connections between them. It entails reason, inquiry together with processing and evaluating information. It enables the exploration of perceptions and possibilities. I'm not being redundant when I say think about that. Look it up for yourself. We have to increase our ability to think and use critical thinking skills to navigate all of the crap that's being thrown at us on a daily basis. So with that said, I just wanted to kind of set the stage, and I want to introduce our guest today. And we're breaking out the young bloods today. on prior shows, we've had, our age group and demographics where we're breaking out the young guns. So first, I want to introduce, as always, my business partner and good friend, Mr. Anthony Alford.
Hello. Thanks for that young gun. Appreciate it.
Yeah, okay. You take that if you want. Okay. We want to introduce his son, AJ Jr.
Hey, my name is AJ. I'm the middle child of 5, and I just graduated this year from the best class. I'm looking at you.
You can have that one.
You can have that one. Appreciate it, AJ. And my man, Amir.
How y'all doing? My name is Amir. I'm a sophomore at Texas A&M Commerce, and I'm a psychology major.
That is going to get interesting. Right there. That I love. Look, I've known AJ since he got to this world. We're going to put it like that. And I've known Amir for about a year or so. I met Amir at a spot that we frequent. It's a really nice restaurant. And what really connected me with him is we started having a conversation, and it was just the way that he carried himself, he spoke, he did his job, and I'm really proud to know him, as I am you, AJ. You are an outstanding young man. Your attitude and your gregarious nature and everything, you've had a smile on your face since you came out, I think. So it's really cool, and I appreciate both of you young gentlemen, you young brothers joining us here today. So the first part I want to get into, as I sent to you, or let you know, was I want to get your thoughts on not only how you see the world, with everything going on right now, the whole social justice movement, the George Floyd. I mean, you guys are having to live through this COVID thing. If we were your age, we would have lost our mind when we were your age to not be able to go anywhere or do anything. And the whole economic situation. I mean, you were working, in the service industry, and I think you are too, right? So, I mean, it's affecting you economically as well. So I'm going to start with you, Amir. The question that I had initially was, in your opinion, what is the mindset, or especially in your field, the psychology of millennials or young people today, and especially those in the Black community, with everything that's going on right now? In your opinion, where is that at? How do you see it?
As far as just school or just in general?
Just in general, if you combine everything, how are you and your friends thinking? How are you discussing these issues?
Well, right now, I feel like a lot of my friends are still looking at things for like a surface level, you know, like how they can like apply to get a job now if they don't already have a job, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, for the most part, it affects everybody differently, all the things that go on, especially like I'm speaking right now is just talking about like the coronavirus.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like with the corona stuff, I feel like maybe it hasn't hit young people as hard as it should because people are still taking it lightly, in my opinion. But that's not just young. That's kind of like everybody in general because I'm still working at Kona Grill right now, you know, and I still see, like just yesterday I had a shift and it was Friday and it was just as busy as how it used to be, you know?
Really?
Yeah, and people were still coming in not wearing masks, you know, like we had to tell them to put them on before we could take them to their seat. It just feels like a lot of people are taking it lightly, you know? And it's like, not to say, I don't know, because I see the stats and it's like, it seems like things are starting to progressively get worse, you know?
Okay,
So
that's a statement.
I mean,
And you're telling adults to put their mask on.
Yeah. And it's like, because at first, I'm not going to lie, I was taking it lightly too. But now that I got my job back, I've kind of been seeing it's like, yeah, people aren't really taking this serious at all. And I felt like in the beginning, maybe there was it was justifiable by saying like, well, you know, it's not really like, it's affecting a lot of people, but a lot of people aren't necessarily getting like really sick if they're not old or they don't already have like pre-existing conditions that would make them sick, you know? But it's still like, I still think it's being taken lightly from young and old.
Interesting. AJ?
Honestly, since it was my last year, it feels like at the first part, everything was being taken away. Because, like, we didn't get to have prom. We didn't have a actual graduation. I mean, I still appreciate what they did. But, like, we didn't get to walk across the stage or, you know.
did. With a mask on.
I guess in a way. But now that I'm just working nonstop and everyone's calling off, they're using this mostly as an excuse in order to get off of work or to try and justify them for being lazy and trying to basically just get their way and give out a. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
But they're just trying to use this to try and as an excuse basically to be lazy 24/7.
That's fascinating to hear. That should warm your heart over there, Pop. And a lot of other adults. Now, since you did graduate, and there are a lot of emotions and feelings from kids that that graduated this year, and they felt like they were left out. You know, they missed out on a lot. You know what I mean? So I know you spoke on that. Do does that bother you in your conversations with some of your friends and stuff? Is that a topic that they really missed out? Are they aggravated by that in any way?
I mean, I wouldn't say. I mean, they were mad at first, but at the same time, you can't just live life off of regrets and just things that you can say, I wished this and that happened. We missed out on it, and we can't get it back, but we all tried to enjoy it in one way or another. I got to take prom photos, even though I didn't get to have a prom. And we got to have our graduation broadcasted all over YouTube and I think on the news. So I can't really complain about it.
Oh, nice. That's a real glass half full way to look at it, AJ. I appreciate that. Now, Amir,
Yes,
your age group, since you already graduated, your age group was able to, go out, kick it because, you're about 20 and 20.
Yes,
20. Okay, so you might not be able to go in a club or bar, but you all were still able to go out and do a lot of things.
Yeah.
Is your group, do they feel like they're missing out, or did they ever really stop? Well, they didn't have a choice when stuff was shut down, but
Yeah, but I mean, people will still. You can't stop people from trying to do what they're finna do. That's what I realized from this more than anything. Like people still, they're not going to clubs, but they are still like partying and stuff, just doing stuff like that. I'm honestly not like a big party guy, but I see that stuff going on in some of my friends. Like, strip clubs are still open. Some of my friends be trying to go to the strip club and stuff like that. Just like, you feel me? Like,
Chicks got no mask.
oh my goodness.
yeah, just like you can't stop people who don't want to be stopped.
Dollar is still a dollar, baby, I guess.
Yeah. But for me, since I'm not really into that all big, the main thing that I see Corona, this is kind of, well, no, I'm not going to say that, but for me specifically, it was a chance for me to kind of like reflect on myself because, I didn't have to go to school in person anymore. All my stuff was online. So I was able to, my little brother lives in California, and when they started shutting stuff down, that's where I went originally, just to spend some time with him and my mom. because school's online. It's like I can do that, and then just like spend some time with my brother. Try to make sure that we still make sure he good before I got to come back here and do my own stuff with my dad. Just stuff like that. So it gave me a chance to sort of prioritize and be accountable without having to worry about being in person for school. And having those commitments as well.
So, okay, now that's leading me back to you, because that's a very good point, because a lot has been said about when schools shut down. A lot of teachers have said, a lot of kids, especially in high school, never really even logged on, to the online stuff. So how did you navigate, or, is that anything that you noticed a lot for those last couple of months of school?
Yeah, me personally, I would just wait till like Friday to finish all my work, but
But you finished it.
Yeah, I got my diploma. That's all that matters.
Okay, no, that's keeping it real, and I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? But that's what's said a lot, in the news, is a lot of teachers are saying, so many kids, which is why they are so adamant about getting them back in school. So how do you, I'll keep with you for a moment, because you are just, you've just gotten out.
Yeah.
The college thing, everything school. Would you be ready to go back into a classroom, or do you prefer it to remain online until they get a better handle on this thing?
Me personally, I would like to go back into the classroom because I'm more of a hands-on person, because I know as soon as I get on the computer, I'm going to have 2 devices, and I'm going to just be looking up every answer, and then I'm going to just mess my way around and get what I need.
Are we in church?
He is living up to the show, baby. Real to real. He is living up. Amir?
Yes, sir.
Which would you prefer?
I'm indifferent. It would
Okay.
be either way. There's benefits for me. Like if I go back to school, I get to maybe work on the connections I have as far as trying to get more opportunities in my field.
Mm-hmm.
But if I stay home, then it just gives me more time to stay and try to probably make some money. Focus on other things. Try to get myself right. So it's like I'm indifferent. Either way, there's gonna be. I'm gonna just have to make something happen, whatever the outcome is.
Okay, well, you seem to be espousing some self-discipline, which we all can use some more of that. I'll stand at the front of the line on that one. So I definitely appreciate and respect that, as well as you. Now, we both had kids, in school. You still have 2 that are in school. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? How do you see it, from a parental aspect? My kids are out of school, but you know what I mean?
Well, I'm a little different. The numbers, we get numbers from people that lie to us a lot. So
True that.
I believe it's something going on, but I think parents want to kick their kids out the house and just send them back to school. they don't. I don't know if they're gonna weigh the risk. I don't know how it's gonna go, but.
Okay, that does seem to be the prevailing vote, is to send them back to school.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Now, in regards to let me touch a little bit on the social justice aspect, which as most people would know, at our age, those are our kids. We obviously, I'm old enough to be both of y'all parents, and I have kids your age and older. So you guys are the ones that are really out there on the front lines protesting and all of this. So in your circles, how do you see that? Amir, I'll go to you first. How do you see the mentality that's driving
like protests and stuff like that?
Yeah, the whole, we understand what happened to George Floyd, but it seems as though, I guess the question I'm asking, it seems as though that has sparked, a dredge, if you will, going back, to, as the young lady is promoting now, the 1619 Project, and it's all about everything in between. So, number one, whatever you want to offer from as far as your opinion on all of that, and how you guys see it. It's your world. It's happening, with everybody that and within your age group.
Okay. Well, my opinion is that I feel like the ideas behind it are good, but I feel like it's like there's a lot of misrepresentation going on, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like people are using the death of George Floyd to kind of project other things besides what the main message was supposed to be in the beginning, you know? And it's like it gets lost in transmission, you know, because people are thinking like, well, what about these people? What about these people? What about what's going on over there? And it's like all these things matter, but it's like you can't fix everything at one time. If you're not focusing on one particular thing, nothing is going to get fixed anyway. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of bothers me a little bit, and I feel like social media and stuff makes that worse as well, because it's like there's so much to project. You know, like there's so many different things that people are worrying about, and in a place where everybody can present their opinion, it's a good thing in theory, but it's like when you have to listen to all these different people saying all these different things, it's kind of like who you supposed to believe if you're just somebody who's reading all that, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, so I just feel like it's like the whole like it'll be hard to change anything. Cause like, for example, you see like George Floyd was murdered probably like a month and a half ago, right? Sometime around there. And you don't even hear his name no more. The only thing that came out of that was like the Washington Redskins are gonna change their name.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like, you feel me? Like don't nobody I don't know about y'all, but I don't really care about that.
It's not gonna
Yeah.
how will that help us?
Yeah, like so I think that maybe it's like a small step in the right direction as far as, you know, people standing up for what they believe in. But I just feel like, I don't know, I just feel like people aren't getting it.
It's that was I appreciate that was well stated, and I understand completely. AJ, you're in a little different demographic, just a couple of years behind, but it's definitely you guys in your circles have to, you know, either be aware of it. I don't know how deeply you're discussing it, or how many are on board, you know, with it. What's your thoughts?
I mean, at first I was indifferent because I kept hearing stuff about like the riotings and basically how they're burning down everything, and I was mad at first. I was like, why are they like? I understand that what was behind it and what they were trying to do, and then I realized like back whenever we were trying to be all peaceful that everyone was complaining anyway, so there's really no right or wrong way to protest, and basically we all learned this in history class and basically in the 1960s, and this is helping me understand that my generation, his generation, are in the right hands, basically. The generation before us did a good job and everything, but whenever they decide to step down, which I know will be soon, they will know that the younger generation will take care of them, and that's something I can say that I'm actually proud of to be part of.
Well, that was a nice backhand compliment. I appreciate that we're going to be stepping down real soon. That was very eloquently put, AJ. I got to give you that.
Soon.
I like how he emphasized that. That was very eloquently put, though.
I mean, you can't be walking around the street with back pains and stuff like
Hey, we got hoop around.
Oh my goodness. Okay. I appreciate it. Both of you all brought up some points that I'd like to just expand upon before we move on to the next little question that I wanted to get into. And you spoke about all the voices and social media. And my question, which is, you know, part of the purpose and goal of this show, you know, to think, to be aware, you know, to analyze. You have no idea a lot of times where they got this information that they are espousing.
Exactly.
And, you know, we've talked about this with you studying psychology. I always say a psychology class saved my life, you know, because to understand the mind, you know, and how people think is just as fascinating as any field you can get into. So
powerful.
Yeah, it is. And I'd like you to speak on that because you hear all of these different thoughts and opinions and people latch on to them based on, you know, their own either beliefs. How deeply, you know, we have our opinion in our generation. How does your end see that affecting the mindset and the thought process
Like the current events that are going on right now. How
Well,
is that affecting?
yeah, just either the current events or social media in general. As I'll give you this. Sean Parker, I think it was, one of the founders of Facebook, he had made a statement about a year or so ago that, they knew what they were doing. They knew that, Facebook and all of this would basically shift how people viewed themselves, socially and everything. He said, we knew what we were doing, but we did it anyway.
And they stopped nobody before.
So that's what I'm asking, and I'm going to come to you in a second. How do you view that overall effect, especially on on your generation?
I think it's a bad thing. I think it's a real bad thing because, in essence, I feel like it's kind of training people how to think and how to view themselves. With all this, like, you see so many people doing all these things on social media, and it's like, the first thing you're gonna do is compare yourself, what you got going on compared to what they got going on, how they feeling versus how you feeling. And it's easy to like underappreciate yourself when you spend all your time on your phone looking at other people that are like maybe your age, younger, even older, that just are like accomplishing more things. And it can be like just that kind of that's not good for anybody's mental health.
Right, that mentality.
Yeah, and it's like all social media platforms are guilty of it. More than that, because it's like it also can be used to, like I said, teach people how to think. It can, like, you see certain opinions being spread on different platforms, and it's like they're accepted by a mass, and you see them talk about it, and it's like they're just jumping on the bandwagon saying the same thing that's been said like 30 times before, and they don't even know what they're supporting, but they just feel like they should support it because other people are, like it encourages groupthink. And, I feel like social media is kind of taken away from individuality in a sense.
You wanted to say something?
Well, I don't want to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
I'm done.
No, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to know, since we talking about how young blacks are being treated in the streets, or blacks, period, how has it affected you?
Good question.
Have y'all lived through things like that, or
Yeah.
you know what I know it's out there. I'm just saying how in your life, how has it been?
Well, when I was in high school, I went to a predominantly white and probably Indian high school, So it was, when I was in high school, it didn't really like hit me, even though, because I took a lot of honors classes, and most of the time I was like the only black kid in my class, but it was still like, I was just doing my thing. It didn't really matter. And then as I got older, the gap kind of started like to be more clear to me, like especially after I graduated. Like sometimes I'll be walking down the street, and I live in a pretty nice area, so I'll be walking down the street by myself after working out, and there'll be like a group of white people coming toward me, and they'll see me, and they'll just cross the street to the other side. And I'm like, these people don't know me,
Exactly.
And it just it irks me because it's like I feel like if you don't know something, like if you don't make the effort to understand who somebody is, regardless of what they look like, then that makes you the ignorant person,
Yeah, they have the problem, not you.
They have the problem.
Yeah.
Okay. Anthony?
You thought just how social media transformed black people?
Just how life has, we talk about all this cops, police brutality and things of that nature. How has it been for you?
For me, basically, I would have my opinions, and I would try to see what it's like for somebody who's on the other side of the fence. So I just don't seem ignorant, but at the same time, I would like to enlighten somebody else, or they could try to enlighten me. So I don't just go out and be like, oh, yeah, and go without any evidence between, like, the first couple days and just be like, oh, so-and-so shouldn't have happened because of this, that, and the third, and turns out that it happened to them because they were in the wrong in the first place.
So, in other words, you're taking the time to analyze and evaluate the information or dig a little deeper. Okay, that's good. Now, the other one that you mentioned when you spoke on, we learned this stuff in history, or in our history class. Do you feel like you've either gotten enough, or do you feel like enough people in your demographics take the time to study or really understand the history, either where we've come, or if you decided we haven't come far enough, that you have that information? Was that given to you enough, do you feel?
I feel like we can strive for better. We can strive for greatness. If we're not in the top percentage of income, then we aren't really where we should be. We should be the people running the banks or owning land, and we're just out here just on Instagram or Snapchat just talking about making a difference instead of actually making a difference. Because this protest is what's actually driving people to the streets for any reason. Well, I can't say any reason, but as long as you're out there, it's basically a good reason. But at the same time, it's also making people just go out there for Instagram likes and follows and stuff like that instead of fighting. But it's still getting people out there in the streets to try and make a difference.
Okay. I'll say for a lot of them are out there for any damn reason. I'll say it. Go ahead.
But we don't know. All we know is what we see on the TV.
That's true. Yeah, we don't know their motives. So that's right. That brings me to the next question or topic I wanted to get into, and you kind of spoke on it a little bit, but I just want to touch on it. What do you value, or what do you think your generation values more within, we know the culture and everything, but the values, because we were always, in our generation, and I know they press it today, but it was always, education, go to college, they told us to get a job a lot,
A lot.
So entrepreneurialism, was there, but, back then you could get a job and work good and support your family and everything. But you guys' generation is a little different. So I'll start with you. What is the prevailing value that you think in the generation? Because your behavior reflects
what you value.
Right.
I don't know, because I feel like there's not one like overarching value that everybody kind of abides to, especially in our generation. Like there's people, like for myself, I value knowledge more than anything. Like I always want to be informed about what's going on around me and make my own opinions on stuff. But most of my friends are like that too, but the way we go about it is different, you know what I'm saying? Like I focus more on my education, and my friends have focused more on like maybe getting their money through other means, just whatever works for anybody. So, but I've also seen people who value things that are like unimportant, like they value things that depreciate, like, like I was talking about money, but like, they want like cars, jewelry, all that stuff, stuff that's not gonna make you no money. But then at the same time, there's people that value money as well, but they're like, I know people that like my age reading into real estate, trying to get into stocks, it's kind of like, it's a toss up. And another thing I feel like certain people value is trying to be something you're not, just to conform to what is going on around you, not really thinking as an individual, but thinking about how you can make other people look at you in a way that's favorable for you, even though it may not be who you are. I feel like that's a pretty big value, which is stupid to me, but I see a lot of people doing it, so it got to be worth something.
Wow. Weren't you the one that told me just the other day that, or it may have been someone else that said, I grew up the day that I knew I could be myself?
Yeah.
Okay. I kind of got that from a little bit of the last thing that you said, in, kind of placing value on themselves based on what they see someone else doing. Now, AJ, values or value in your generation.
For me personally, me and generation are somewhat the same but different. But for me, I know for a fact that I value family the most. Either you're coming you have my last name, or from either side, you're either giving a last name or you're taking it away. That's something I value. As long as you're cool with them, you're cool with me. But with this generation, I think they more value I compared to like them, to other people. Because like you said, that everyone was pressuring you to go to college, get an education, and to go to work. But you'll see all these other people just relaxing, going on vacations and trips right now, just because they can go out and enjoy their life basically before they have to just start hitting the road and working 9 to 5s for the rest of their life.
Okay. No, I got you. That makes sense. And you want to add something?
No, I just wanted, when it goes to family, I just want to know how y'all feel about family right now, because my mom, you don't get hugs anymore. You get elbow bumps. Your mom don't come here with no mask.
Yeah.
It's just different. It's real different. And I don't know what they thought about it.
And since you just came back from California, which is, I mean, the governor there, that's just enough said on Mr. Newsom and how he is approaching it. How was it? I mean,
it was pretty strange. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
It was because they it's pretty much all implemented here now, but I remember there's like long lines waiting outside the supermarket and people standing like really far apart. Mm-hmm. You couldn't go in. You couldn't go nowhere without a mask, you know? And it's like everywhere there was like barely any people. I tried to go play basketball with my brother. We got kicked off the court like just like that, you know? Like they really is not playing. Like people out there, they see you outside, they will literally call somebody to get ready.
That is crazy. Yeah. That is nuts.
It's different in the neighborhood though, but it's like if you go outside, like any public place, it's no good. It's no good. Especially, I don't know what it's like now, but that was like earlier, so I can only imagine it's worse now, you know?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's gotten any better. AJ, with your fam?
Oh, I mean, like, I understand what they'll do. I mean, I appreciate a hug every now and then.
Show me some kind of love.
Yeah, you know, I get tired of getting high fives. You know?
If you can get that.
That's good. That is very good. Okay, well, I appreciate that. So, and one of my other questions, but you already kind of spoke to that both in how, you know, that value manifests itself in economic and financial terms. You know, you spoke on some of your friends, you know, that are focused on it, and you talked about, you know, going to work and hitting it, you know, that all evolves around economics. And in future shows, we're definitely going to dig deeper into that because personally, I feel as though our main fight, you know, all the social issues, I understand and I get it, but the main fight is economical. You know, if we get our economics right, I believe we really won't care a lot about, you know, some of the other stuff that we are, you know, having issues with.
Money, right?
You know?
Yeah.
Should we wait on someone to give it to us, or should we go out and get it?
No, we definitely, and you spoke on that, AJ. You did. We not only should we, but we can. We are completely and totally capable. Now, before I move on to the next subject, you had mentioned when you were walking down the street, you know, and your high school, and you said it irked you, but it didn't seem as though, and I'll use the term, it didn't knock you off your square.
Because it didn't surprise me, you know? Like, the same things that are happening now. I feel like this is kind of like this is a bad quote, but, you know, only difference between racism now and back in the day is that if you're racist, you can hide it better now, or you know to hide it better, you know? So it's like, that's like the little things, you know? And I feel like I don't even blame them because, I mean, that's kind of like, I talk about how people are conditioned to think, and it's like, these white people in these expensive neighborhoods, that's how they conditioned to think, you know? Like, you see, there's stats. Police officers are more threatened when they pull over somebody black than if they white, you know? They feel, like, just like that, they already feel like, you know, they had to be on the defensive.
Yeah, and we had an officer on the show that said that exact thing, you know, and he was a 21-year veteran officer, you know. He made the statement, pretty much that, you know, exact statement.
I mean, it's just, it's all... if you want to fix a problem, you got to start at the root, you know? But I feel like right now, the root is so, like, you know, it's like tangled up. You know, there's so many things hiding it. It's under the dirt. It's like they're making it hard to pull out.
Yeah, but you two seem to deal with it in a different way. And I guess that's what I really wanted to touch on before I moved on to the next subject is you two seem to deal with it in a different way. You know, it's there, but it's not stopping you from doing what you're doing. And you're not allowing it to, you know, to get into you. You know, you said irritated, but you didn't say ticked off, angry, you know, just any of that. You know what I mean? So I think that's one of the greatest ways to deal with it, as long as they're not preventing you from going and getting what you want to get.
Yeah, because regardless of what's going on, it's still proven that if you put your head down and you work hard, you know, you can't ignore results. Results can't be ignored no matter what the color of your skin is, you know. I just feel like there aren't a lot of people that realize that. Like, there are a lot of people that want to play the victim and act like there's nothing they
Exactly.
can do.
Yeah, a lot of excuses.
Yeah, a lot of excuses.
It's everybody else's fault.
Yeah, you are not recognizing your contribution, and you said that before, your contribution to your situation. It's not that there aren't other forces involved, but you are contributing to that as well, especially in your mindset. Okay, I want to get to one other subject that I think ought to be entertaining, and that is how you guys view our generation and us. And I'll set the stage, and you have to chime in on this one before we let them go, okay? In my opinion, I was a freshman in high school in 1980, okay? That's when I started. We were the first graduating class of the 80s, 1984. Now, whether a lot of you in the audience or you two have ever read the book 1984, Big Brother, the whole 9 yards, that entire concept. But we were the first class to start in the 80s. In this 40-year period, you had a lot that changed. You had the home computer come in. You had technology take off, in an exponential fashion. You had the introduction, although it may have been there a little bit, but you had the mass introduction of crack cocaine. Not that heroin and other drugs weren't there, but you had this mass introduction of crack cocaine in the black neighborhoods. You had the transformation of the music scene, okay? You had gangster rap and all kinds of other stuff that were introduced. So in my mind, I feel as though, and this is just me personally, that our generation did not live up to the potential that it could have and the examples that we set, and laid down. And you spoke on that a little earlier, and I appreciate you giving some props, and I agree in some ways, but I think we dropped the baton on a lot of the values that we grew up with from that civil rights era generation. Those were our parents. And grandparents, and we left that. No, you good. I'm about to turn it over to you. So I just wanted to put that out there to you from where I said that we owe a lot. We did some things, but we owe a lot. So, if you want to add anything into that, and then we're going to let them rip.
Well, I just think, when you look at the younger guys out here now, a lot of them are in the streets right now. They wilding out. I think it's energy unguided.
Okay.
They making their own rules. Somebody guiding them out there, but we didn't do it. It's they warriors, but unguided.
Okay.
So we get what we get. I think we did drop the ball, but a lot of us didn't even know any better.
Okay. Okay. AJ, I'm gonna start with you. How do you, see us and what we left, and adults that you see, that may be our age? How do you see it?
I mean, I see it as like it was a paved way, but at the same time, we still had to create our own trail because like we can't just sit behind and just let other people march for us. We have to blaze what we can, and whenever we hit a rough patch, we can just learn to go around it, or if we need to, just charge forward. Because we can't you can't just sit around and just do things that you're asked. Because without what was it? It's like you can't ask for permission. You must ask for an apology. And so we just did what we could to strive and become better and try and create a new chapter instead of just leaning back on the old ones.
Boy, I almost want to give you a hug right now for letting us off the hook like that, AJ. I love you to death, my brother. That boy, look. Amir, how do you see what we left behind in us?
I want to take it back to when you said that your parents were civil rights leaders. Like that was that generation, right?
Their era, right, right.
You know what I mean? But when I look back to that and then how the things that happened, like you got to think most of those like the big name leaders that we had in our communities were killed,
Mm-hmm.
And it's like if you cut like that's the best way to set somebody up for failure is you get rid of all the people that are supposed to be setting the examples,
Mm-hmm.
So that's why that's where I think it's like it's kind of messed up, where you said you say that y'all dropped the ball, but it's like, there wasn't. I just feel like when somebody's working against you doing something like that, it's like you can't like you already starting from scratch when there was already supposed to be a foundation, and then you're building off the stereotypes that other people have set for you as a race. Like, they introduce all these drugs and stuff into the communities. It's like that's calculated. That's not just like
Absolutely.
It's not it's not just like, I don't know. It's like a game. It's like a game that we ain't make none of the rules.
You are very correct on that. It's the reason they say we're playing chess, not checkers.
Yeah.
And there is a strategy involved. But man, I really appreciate. That's why I wanted you guys on the show, because we don't really know a lot. I don't know. You can tell me, do we ask them enough
No.
about how they think about these issues?
I can't say everybody, but I need to ask more questions because I don't know. Maybe I'm scared of what they may say or something. I don't know. But we need to ask more questions, and we don't.
Because, in conversations that I have with a lot of people is there's so many in our generation that I feel like they didn't really fully grow up mentally. We had such a good time in the 80s, okay, in the late 70s and 80s. I mean, it was great. Anybody that you talk to we had a blast. But there were a lot that I think may have enjoyed it a little too much and still kind of conduct themselves in the way that we did, when we were still in our 20s, And that's where I come from. With that and the example that, that we were supposed to lead, but maybe didn't. But I take both of your points, absolutely I take both of your points. So the other question that I had for you, just still in that vein, and we'll get concluded here. We're just about done. Do you guys, because I've heard it said that a lot of young people look at people my age and they don't necessarily, there was a hierarchy when we grew up, okay? As Denzel once said, this is not a democracy, it's a dictatorship. I am the law. That's how our parents operated. I know that's how your grandmother and your mother operated, okay? You know what I'm saying? So there was this hierarchy. Do you guys see yourselves, when you're dealing with a lot of adults, as we're each on the same level? You know what I'm asking?
You want to go
The
first?
adults or the adults and the kids?
I mean, do the kids see themselves,
okay.
on the same level as the adult, or is there still that, you know what I mean, that separation?
You can go, bro.
I would say we are on the same level, but at the same time, we're just a little under. Because experience is something you can't teach. That's the best teacher. Mm-hmm. So there's still things that we can learn, but at the same time, we need to go out there, give it our all. And if we fail, and that's an experience we can learn and put it in the books. It's not bad because, it's respect. Respect is there. Respect is always going to be maintained. And it's what we're going to lead by and give to you because... can I use the word elders?
Absolutely.
Okay, because I don't want to be
we qualified. As far as you're concerned, we qualified.
I'm still getting over Sarah.
Oh my goodness.
Damn, my elder. Hold on.
I mean, you're getting this close to getting like senior discounts. You kind of already got it.
Yeah.
Quit telling my business.
I'm all in AARP, so yeah, ain't no shame. Okay.
But, like I was about to say, you were not the elders of our tribe, and we still have to learn from you. But at the same time, we just gotta strive to leave our own mark in history.
Okay, very well said, AJ. Amir?
I agree with what you said about leaving our own mark in history. Because when I think about, I'm using the same term, elders,
Might as well.
It sounds nice.
Yeah.
But when I think about that, I accept that there is a lot to learn, and I'm always open to learning what anybody has to say, regardless of what their age is, because I feel like everybody has a voice, And they might just say something that just clicks, you know. It doesn't matter how old you are, but experience is the best teacher. And old people do. Sorry,
It gets better.
elders do have more experience, but I also feel like experience can make your thinking like rigid. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I feel like when you're young, you're able to kind of see, like, you have your perspective is different. But I feel like if it's like focused, then you'll still be able to like. You'll be able to come up with more innovative and new ideas, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just feel like it's, I don't know. I feel like old people kind of discredit the voices of young people just because of, like,
We ain't trying to hear it.
But yeah, just to, like, discredit young people just because they're young, and it's always under the same premise of like, well, I've been here longer, so you know, so I know more than you. But it's like, yeah, I hear that, but you told me everything you know, and so I'm keeping that in my head as I'm thinking about stuff that I see, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that like there's no disrespect involved. It's just like, you know, I feel like if I'm listening to everything you have to say and formulating my opinions like that, then maybe you should be receptive of the things that I'm saying and the things that I feel too, and see if we can find some type of balance in that. And I could be right or wrong, but I mean, hey, I can only think for myself, you know. So it's like that's how I think about it.
No, that's very well said as well. I mean, hey, boy, it's going to be some adults listening to this like, well, I'll be.
Well, I just wanted to say one thing
Yeah.
on it, but like I didn't grow up with a father, so I look for father figures in people, you know, and
Right.
It doesn't matter what age. If I can get quality information and good things from you,
Yeah,
I'm gonna respect that, and I can draw to that.
for sure.
But if you on some old stuff,
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
but that's all I gotta say. on
We,
that.
we cannot be stagnant in our thinking. We have to continue to learn and grow. You know, knowledge is power is not a cliche, and you're always learning. So if you're dealing with someone, you know, that's an adult that is not consistently trying to learn and understand better, then I can see exactly where you're going. Now, we're going to have to wrap up here. I want to offer something, a quote, before I give out the website and how you can contact us. And I think it pertains to everything that both of you just said. And it's a quote from Marcus Garvey. So it resonated with me personally. It was his "emancipate ourselves" quote. And this is what that quote says. We are going to emancipate ourselves from mental slavery, because whilst others might free the body, none but ourselves can free the mind. The man who is not able to develop and use his mind is bound to be a slave of the other that who uses his mind. And I love that quote, because I've said before, the physical chains were broken. Psychological chains are a little more difficult to shake. So I offer that quote. And people, I certainly appreciate you joining us. Look, you can find the show on YouTube. Just in your search bar, put in "fully engaged," the numbers 421, and we should be the first show at the top of the list. Not often we can say we're at the top, okay? But you can find the show there. We are also, you can also find the show on Apple iTunes, Podbean, Google Play, Spotify, and I believe there's one more, and forgive me for not being able to recall it at the moment. I apologize. But you can find the show at all of those places. The show is called Real to Real. And again, we call it that for a reason, because we want to have real talk, real conversation. And believe me, you know, you're not going to offend me. You can't offend me because you can't hurt my feelings. I don't really care what you say. So everybody is open to come on. But you two young gentlemen, AJ, Amir, man, you bought it. You gave us, you kept it real. You were honest, and truly you enlightened me on some of these questions. And I think I might be able to speak for you too.
Why you keep missing me? And Anthony Rose. But go ahead.
And my road dog, my business partner, we 50-50. Thank you for joining us. You didn't want to come in, but I'm glad you did. I'm glad you came in and sat down, my brother. You offer a lot, and thank you for that.
I enjoyed it.
Sir, I did too.
Same here.
Amir, thank you. AJ, thank you. Appreciate you all. Everybody be good. Wish you all the best. Till the next time. Peace out.